Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on that last point, I think what you're going to find out is you don't have enough resources, but that's just my prejudgment. I think it's great, Dr. Meink, that you're surrounded by the research and development guy and the acquisition guy, and you're all talking about modernization, and that's what I want to talk about. But first, I want to know, in Lemon, South Dakota, as close to North Dakota as you can possibly be, to quote my colleague from South Dakota, was your area code 605 or 701? Because Lemon is known to have both.
Yeah. It's not just close. Actually, part of the town is in North Dakota.
It is.
I was 605, Senator.
All right. That's fine. Okay. So, Dr. Meink, it gets harder from there. I'm told that the Air Force is considering, back to my technological advancement, is considering canceling solicitations for this transport layer on SDA's Tranche 2 and 3, and instead using Starshield, which is, of course, an existing SpaceX capability. One of the purposes, the specific purposes of SDA, as per the founding document, is to, quote, expand our space warfighting capability and foster growth in the U.S. space industrial base, unquote. But I'm told that cutting these bids for these transport layers means maybe 8 or more small, mid-sized companies would not be allowed to bid. Is this a good idea? I mean, do you think cutting opportunities like this could hurt the innovators in the industrial base and the potential going forward?
Senator, thanks for the question. One of the things that I've pushed for, particularly over the last 10 years, is expand competition and expand the industry base. That ends up almost always with the best result, both from a capability and cost to the government. I'm not familiar with those discussions going on within the Pentagon. If confirmed, I look forward to diving into that and assessing where they're going and what they're recommending. But I've not seen those recommendations at this point. Well,
I look forward to that. I look forward to digging into that and finding out the answers, and hopefully changing course if that is in fact the case. Going on with SDA, the founding document, which was written in March of 2019, said, quote, "We cannot match the pace our adversaries are setting if we remain bound by legacy methods and culture." I've been told so many times by people seeking and that have positions like you're all seeking that that's their commitment to, and I've yet to really see anybody put that to practice. So you were a member of NRO at the time, I believe, and we're probably part of that culture. Why do you think the statement was needed in 2019, and do you think the statement is relevant today, and if not, why?
So, Senator, I think that sort of thinking is always required, right? We always have to look at how we're operating, how we're executing. As technology changes, as different threats change, we have to be flexible and adaptable enough. We have made, I believe, significant improvements in how we are acquiring systems. I would argue that at that point in time, there were probably no programs that were moving faster than the Chinese. That is not the case now. Yeah. But we still have a long way to go, Senator, and I think you pointed a couple of those out.
Thank you for that. I think while I have time, I'm going to switch over to you, Mr. Bass, and talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart, coming from a rural state, very rural area with some really important bases in our country, in our world, and certainly to me. I championed some legislation in the NDAA, the 2025 NDAA, about rural health care and access specifically to mental health services. But I was told that the Defense Health Agency was against it. So the committee staff wouldn't put it in the bill. Without a vote of the members, I brought the amendment to the committee. It passed on a voice vote. And here's the point. It has to do with TRICARE reimbursement for health care services that don't meet the singular, very specific accreditation. Not a better accreditation, just an accreditation that's specific, that greatly reduces access to health care, to mental health care. The reason this became important to me is because I know of 2 airmen who sought mental health care at Grand Forks and were denied by TRICARE, who are no longer with us because they ultimately chose to take their own lives. All because of this one accreditation that wasn't. I don't know what would happen had they been able to get the care that was available to them. But the bill that we passed, that's part of the NDAA, it basically says if access in the state fails to meet standards for more than 12 months consecutive, then we have to look at something different. Now, it's under review. The first part of the bill is a 1-year review. My experience, my experience is far too often that in a year we have to ask somebody where the review is, and then they'll try to get it to us in 4 months. Would you just please commit to the men and women of the military that we'll look into this right away, that a year from the enactment of the law, I don't have to wait 4 more months for the conclusion?
Thank you, Senator. The mental health access for our service members in our total force has to be a priority, and I will commit to working with you on that.
Thank you for that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cramer. Senator King.